to the Sherriff looks more and more just like the line of an opening eyelid with bright light coming out. It's a gigantic eyelid across the sky, and the light from this eyelid is just bathing him in this being's love, beneficence, and acceptance. Well, howdy, howdy, howdy. Nearly Senior Citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends. And welcome to this, a brand new day where there's a frog up here. I've changed, well, I haven't really, the scope and view of my webcam has changed a little bit, so you can't see the frog entirely. My apologies for that. It is raining. It has been raining. This is day 3 of it raining. Pretty much constantly, so it's very damp. I went out walkies last night. My feet got soaked from the shins down, so life is life. I don't mind getting wet. I don't mind going walkies in the rain. I've got a nice umbrella, and even though it leaks because it's older, you know, at least I'm not soaked. So it's fun and it's good. Thumbs up for that. But yeah, it's warmer. Oh boy, and I got a story about it being warmer. Ugh. And it's all in all, I enjoy the rain, I enjoy cooler weather, and it's not a bad morning, and that's a very good thing. And of course, front loading of videos. Thank you, YouTube algorithms. Hey, if you could toss me a like, that would be very cool. If you could subscribe to the channel, if you haven't, that too would be awesome. If you could leave me a comment, I love comments, I read them all. I thumbs up each one that I do read, and again, I read them all. And I even answer as many as my executive dysfunction will allow. Thumbs up for that. And of course, I would like to thank each and every one of my Patreon patrons, these beautiful and awesome people. Literally, beautiful and awesome. Helping to keep me alive, helping to keep my pets alive. And I appreciate that to no end. It is a very, very good thing. I cannot remember exactly how long I should be keeping my hands up in the air, so I'm going to bring them down because my wrists are hurting. Thumbs up. I thank you. Each and every one of these Patreon patrons, you are beautiful and awesome, and if you'd like to become one of these people, links are in the video description. Thumbs up for that. Yay, YouTube front load algorithm. That's not English, but still, back to our regularly scheduled disjointed ramble. Oh boy, I had been taking multivitamins as well as keeping my blankets on my bed so that my feet and lower legs could be up and high enough. Of late, it's been pretty cold. I've had 2 fleecy blankets, even put a bath blanket on to keep warmer. Last night, with the rain, I kept the 2 fleecy blankets on, and at about 3 o'clock in the morning, discovered that that was a dumb idea because I was sweating. And that muscle in my right thigh just cramped up hard. So 3-ish in the morning, well, it was before 3:30 when the cramp happened. I woke up about 3, just too warm, not realizing that was why I was awake, tossing and turning, and then turned, felt it happening, and it was cramping. I had to take everything off but just the sheet. It was so warm. Ugh. But then I also overheat quickly, so yay on that. So, I'm also taking more multivitamins again. I had to buy some with money I don't yet have. Yay. But I don't eat well. Well, I can't chew things with these, and I don't have the money to buy a lot of food, so I don't eat well. And because of that, I try to eat multivitamins for what I do eat so that I can, live. I've been out for about a week, and while I've been using the multivitamins, I hadn't really had any cramping problems, along with keeping my legs cooler. But I've been out, and it's been building up cramp-wise the past 3 days, as well as the things just being too warm. So I'm taking multivitamins again. I'm going to be taking a lot more potassium, and I'm going to be using a lot less blankets because, oh boy, it was fun. It was joyous. So I'm still surviving, and that's good. Went out walkies as stated, and it was just so wet. My feet were soaked, and the ones I use for outside walking were a gift from someone online. And they were primarily running type shoes. They've got a weird design on them for the sole. it has these weird little splits all the way through it, and they're kind of shallow, but they're just slits that go in. Guess what slides right up inside of those little rocks? And they gather more and more of them. I discovered that there are just great amounts of rocks that have pushed, well, holes through the bottom of the soles where they slide in through these slits that are there. So that's great. I dug out some of the rocks, but the holes, you know, that's not going to be able to be repaired. Yay. So they're damp too. Only thing I have for cold, wet weather now that's not just going to immediately get soaked are my hiking boots, and those are hard to put on. They're hiking boots. There's a whole lot of extra laces, and they got to be tight but not too tight, and they go up around my ankle. A lot of work, but got to do what you got to do. Life is life. Also as well, did a lot of thinking, of course, on my whole fictional setting, the Razor's Edge, inside and outside, thinking about things and individuals and not any one great thing, because I'm trying to figure out now which part of it I need to cut down and put into that year scope-wise. I have realized the sheer scope of my project is too huge already. I have enough material just from the introductions of characters that would be a multi-book series. So I've got to cut the whole life on the Razor's Edge for 1 year, kind of cut the scope down. But at the same time, I had talked before about how in the beginning I want to have the sheriff and an EMT having to head out to find a hiker, but the hiker transcended, and so they're having to run for their lives, and they escape. You know, you can do it. It's not that hard if you're in a forested area. You can get away from these things. They're big, they're bulky, they're not made for foresting runs. So if you're smart and quick, you can get away. But just to try and make it even more of a good thing, they find a big ball of this static electricity that builds up on the Razor's Edge. They have enough sight, they're able to get away from it before it arcs into them. And they keep it between the transcended and themselves. The transcended, and it's just absolute mindless hunger, runs right into it. There's a burst and an arc of energy. It's gone. There's a big towering column of flame where all of this happened. And the sheriff and the EMT absorbed a huge amount of this changing area. They were inside the blast radius. I haven't known what was going to happen to them. Last night on walkies, I kind of figured it out. Just letting this stuff percolate over these weeks. About 6 months after they absorb the energy, because they know this isn't good. It's like if you absorb a huge amount of radiation out here, you know, something not too good may happen. On the inside, on the Razor's Edge, you get a huge arc of this changing energy. Yeah, it can be good, and it can be neutral, and it can be bad. And after 6 months, the EMT, the energy in his body, he starts to grow and turns 25 feet tall. But he's still just like you took an image of somebody, went into a paint program, and then just proportionally grew the thing to 25 feet. That's what they are. There's none of this, you know, bigger stance, wider stuff that you have as a human body grows to try and take care of the extra meat and all that on your bones. Cube square law. It's hard and heavy, and if you fall when you're big, it can be really bad. But he doesn't have that. He can even go from lying down to jump straight up, and there's no orthostatic hypotension. His body is fine. He's just 25 feet tall. The sheriff, on the other hand, starts getting denser and slower. And after a time, he's just, well, you know. To him, he's running at normal speed. It's everyone else that's just speeding up. And that's bad. And eventually it reaches the point on the last day of the poor sheriff's existence for him and everybody else, but it takes a lot longer than that in actuality, but I'll describe that. They become so dense and so slow that effectively, you know, the person who becomes 25, they quit their job, they're not an EMT anymore, it's made changes up here, they just sort of live out in the wild. a camping sort of thing. They're happier by themselves, except for the sheriff. And the sheriff on this final day is just trying to turn to his friend and say, you know, the EMT, the friend, you know, that thank you, and this is the day. But only gets 2 words into it before the sun, he watches it move across the sky like that. It travels across the top of the sky while he says 2 words, and then he just realizes he can't force the EMT to sit through this. It's been hours already, and he's only gotten 2 words into it. So he just stops talking and smiles and stares at the sun as it zooms. And then there's a few moments of night, and then whoosh, as the sun just goes across. And then as he's there, the sun just whoosh, 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 faster and faster until it's just a bright line of light across the sky, getting brighter and wider as he stares. Unfortunately, because this is the end of the sheriff, there is a comforting hallucination as death approaches. And this line of light across the sky looks more, I'm probably going to end up crying because this is like, I'm 14 and this is deep sort of thing, and I have a very immature and partially developed emotional responses to things because of my years of alcoholism and such, and I tend to cry at just the smallest hint of sadness. But the line of light to the sheriff looks more and more just like the line of an opening eyelid with bright light coming out. It's a gigantic eyelid across the sky, and the light from this eyelid is just bathing him in this being's love, beneficence, and acceptance. And bathing in this, the sheriff just stops and is gone. Yep, dying hallucination. At least he didn't die in pain, died feeling that, hey, he's going into something greater than himself. But gone. Now, because of that line of light, that means, you know, he's not really gone, as everybody else is still watching, because it takes a very long time for these last few bits that he is feeling to actually occur in real time. They can't move his body. He's too dense. He does not move. Doesn't sink, just cannot be moved in space. And that is why they can watch the sun spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning through the sky, even though he's unmoving. And it takes a very long time, but for him it's just maybe 30, 45 seconds. And that's how they end their sad little story. Well, his sad little story. I'm not quite sure later of the final result of what happens to that one individual who's now 25 feet tall. But there's an ending to them as well. As there's an ending to everybody. I mean, everybody has an ending, so yay. The other thing is, I wanted to quickly talk about this one. It's not sad, it's just more about the Kaiju. I've talked before about how power and repetition can be very dangerous, because the more you do something, the more it gets ground into reality. You know, like it's repetition and it just becomes pushed in, like you formed a path. And if you're not careful, you can get locked into behaviors that you can't break. So if you have power, you've got to be extremely careful not to get involved in any repetition and continue doing of something, because that becomes locked in. Like the Abernathy corn beast that eats everybody in the town of Abernathy. It had been about 10, 20 million years old, and its existence had already become a burden, and it hated life by that point. It is over 100 million years older than this by this time. It hates existence, but it can't do anything. It got locked into all of these behaviors when young, when it enjoyed the game and kept doing the same thing, and now it's locked in. Other beings, of course, have to be very careful. It doesn't matter how much power you have, the same thing can be dangerous. That is why I talked about yesterday the guy who discovers Allerton and Vine Pig. Well, he doesn't discover it, but he travels there. Repetition and stubbornness was able to bring him to the exit that brought him there. There is one being that does not have to really worry about that, and that's the Apple Rock Kaiju. Right now, when it rampages, somebody has to bleed on it between the hours of 1 a.m. and 5 a.m. That's just to keep it entertained right now. It can do that for 1 billion years and then stop the next moment. It is powerful enough that it does not have to worry about repetition. And thumbs up for that. And I've opened up 24 hours worth of comments in my community tab. I'm going to go through and thank how many people have left me comments in the past 24 hours. Anything more than 0 is awesome. Thank you all so very much. And if I mispronounce the username, my sincere apologies. And even though I can't American Sign Language, well, you've seen how my memory works. I'm pretty close, I think, to reaching my maximal memory. So who knows? We'll see what happens. We have Rob Rubano, thank you very much and greatly appreciated. Dreadlord AJ, thank you very much for the link and greatly appreciated. Tracy McGill, Slime Rancher is a good game, thumbs up and thank you. We have Jocelyn Williams, good to see you in the comments. And we have AGILAWIN, Loft TV, thumbs up and thank you. Confused Owl 29, oh boy. And especially since it seemed Putin really made a huge mistake now that the entire economy of Russia is tanked. Oy vey. Ben B, greatly appreciated. It is a very fun game. We have Alec, thumbs up. Flora Mew, Hokey Smokes, a whole bunch of stuff. Very, very deep and fun to think about things that you've brought up. Greatly appreciated. That was 9. 10, Very Rare Boy, thumbs up and thank you. We have Prismo the Wishmaster, thumbs up. Sarge778, Return, CODM. Well, here's hoping, thumbs up, fingers crossed. And we have, that is it actually, 12 people in the last 24 hours have left me comments. Greatly appreciated getting out of my head and into the world and dealing with real people. Definitely a thumbs up on that. And of course, don't know what device you're watching this on, so I don't know where the video description show more for the video is. But inside there are links to all my various channels, as well as my Twitter, my Facebook, and again, my Patreon, because I do want to, one more time, thank each and every one of these beautiful and awesome people. Literally beautiful and awesome. I have reached the point where if it weren't for these people, I would have no food for half of the month. Oy vey, it is not good, but thank you all. It is greatly appreciated. I enjoy metabolizing. I know my cat enjoys metabolizing. My hamster enjoys metabolizing. It is greatly appreciated. If you'd like to help me out without becoming a patron, I do have a PayPal link wherever the show more is. And if you don't want to do anything financial like that, I have an Amazon wishlist link with stuff like cat food on it. So thumbs up and thank you. And of course, do not feel obligated to check any of that out. But well, no, it's don't feel obligated. I don't feel entitled. And if you can't donate, if you don't donate, I take all good wishes and I deposit them in the bank of my heart. And if you could toss me a like, I appreciate all the positive validation I get from my existence. And of course, if you did the notification bell on the subscription button, that would be very cool indeed. Definitely a thumbs up on that. Kind of checking at my list here just to see if I had anything else to talk about quickly. I've got so much stuff on here, but nothing for this morning. I've got stuff I got to get done. Hopefully I'm going to be able to do at least some of it. If you have things to get done, I hope you can get some of it done too. That would be cool. And of course, with the Covfefe bug a-raging, you know the precautions you have to take. Please take them. Hokey smokes. You don't want to be just another sad statistic. Please. So, until we meet again, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side, and quite frankly, I still think that's a very good idea.